Yes, thanks, Ren, and thank you to the organizers for giving us the opportunity to present once again Molmed, especially in this wonderful location. I'm Italian, so I'm quite used to great places, but this definitely stands a chance. So, Molmed, we are one of the historical companies in this field. We've been around for 22 years. Within these years, we changed a couple of times the mission. So we started as a CDMO. We then started developing our own products. And a few years ago, we restarted back the CDMO services. So now the current structure really foresees a dual business model where we develop our own product and we offer CDMO services for third parties. Both these businesses are based on some common asset, people. First, we have 200 employees, very skilled, very qualified in this area, a solid portfolio of patents with over 250 granted patents to date, and last but not least, 2 GMP facilities for an overall area of 55,000 square feet and 30 plus grade B and C suites for vector manufacturing and gene manipulation. So taken together, these 2 facilities really, we're dealing with one of the largest CDMO, not only Europe, but worldwide. So let's start with our pipeline. As Ram mentioned, we have 2 assets. One called Zalmoxis is already approved. This is a gene therapy product to be used in a context of haploidentical transplantation. So what we do, we take donor T cells, we insert a suicide gene, and we give those cells back to the patient so that in a case of the adverse reaction due to the mismatch between the donor and the recipient, we can control the lethal graft versus host disease. And this allows also to preserve the positive effect of these T cells, like the graft versus leukemia and the graft versus infection. The product is approved since 2016. We already concluded the first price negotiation in Italy, getting a nice price tag of 149,000 euros per infusion, and each patient can get between 1 and 4 infusions. So you can do the math of what is the average price for this product. That is absolutely in line with what you've seen for the CAR T therapies that have been approved at the end of last year in the US. Similar price presented in Germany, and everything that I can discuss later on is going also in other countries. Second product that is preclinical but quite fastly approached the clinical is a CAR T. It's quite different from other CAR T that you've seen around. We're not targeting CD19, BCMA, and these common targets. We decided to stay a little bit on the niche, which shows CD44V6, that is an amazing target being expressed both on liquid tumors like AML and myeloma, as well as on solid tumors, pancreas, liver, lung. Downside of this target is a low level expression on the skin, but we were really able to demonstrate in the last couple of years that we don't trigger off-target toxicity on the skin. But in any case, in order to manage this potential side effect, we also use the same suicide gene that we had in Zalmoxis, so the HSV-TK gene, also in the context of this CAR. Finally, let's move to the other business, that is our CDMO business. You can see here a list of our current disclosed partner. The first 7 are a package that used to be GSK's option on the Teleton TIGIT asset. As you probably have seen last week in the news, as well as heard Mark Rothera, CEO of Archer, presenting a few hours ago, these assets are now managed by Archer. We are very happy of this collaboration, and this will continue to be a very successful partnership like it was with GSK. The 3 last customers are partners that we added starting in 2016, Genenta, an Italian startup focusing on immuno-oncology, using a slightly different approach. So it's not a CAR T, it's an interferon-based product. Then the 2 companies that you are probably also very familiar with that are Rocket Pharma, based here in New York, working on rare diseases and a leading program of Fanconi anemia. And then another French, US-based company, Select, is working on allogeneic CAR-T. So for all of these partners, we are doing, or almost all, we are doing lentiviral vector manufacturing as well as the cell manipulation for either clinical programs or commercial program like Streamville for Orchard. Final slide, some numbers. As you can see, our revenues is increasing year after year and quarter after quarter. We closed 2017 with 24 million in revenues, of which 20 plus were deriving from the CDMO business and 2.5 from the initial revenues from upfront and milestone payments for the out-license of Zalmoxis. Operating costs are going to be kind of in line or reducing over time, and that lead to a net result of negative 8 million, that is 40% better than what it used to be in 2016 and even much better compared to 15. So we are looking at a burn rate of much less than $1 million per month, and with our current net financial position of over 18 million, we are well financed across the next couple of years. And importantly, it's our workforce is increasing year after year in order to support all this internal and external development.
Great. So I think one thing that's on the top of most investors' minds are kind of what are the expectations for Zalmoxis, right? It's been approved since 2016. You've gotten reimbursement. You know, when do we kind of hit the ground running, and what can we expect?
Sure, that's a fair point. So as a matter of fact, we have been reimbursed since very recently. So in March is where, after all the bureaucracy with the Italian reimbursement agency, we are officially reimbursed, and in January in Germany. So the actual sales are deriving from several factors. One is market size. Haploidentical transplant in Europe, and this is registry data, are somewhere between 1.3 and 1.5 thousand patients per year in terms of haploidentical transplant to be performed, and those numbers are growing roughly 20% year on year, and similarly also the US market. So the market is there. Second is price. We got a price. As I said, $149K per infusion, multiplied by the number of infusions per each patient. Germany, even higher price, and we expect to negotiate very similar price also in other countries. The final point is penetration, and it's probably the biggest question mark in this algorithm. It has all the gene therapies. This is a quite complex product to deliver to the market. It involves quite complex logistics, education, and management of incoming biological materials and outgoing biological materials. So this is probably the hardest to predict. We don't know whether it's going to be 10, 20, 30, 40%. For sure, what I can say is that ourselves as Molmed really did everything we could have done to date. We developed this product in the last 15 years, during which nobody was really investing in gene therapy. We got it approved. We found a commercial partner. We signed with them significant deals. We expand our manufacturing capacity in order to support then the manufacturing of this product. We even negotiate ourselves the first price in Italy to a similar level as the US price for other CAR-T therapies. So really, we did everything we could have possibly done today. Now it's really up to our partners, go to the market and deliver it.
So if I just do a quick back of the envelope calculation, right? It's more than one dose. So let's just say 300,000 euro, and about, let's just say 1,000 patients. Is that 300 million euro is a market ballpark? Or it could
well, we don't give guidance, so I would say that's going to be probably an optimistic scenario, but your math is right. It's just about which numbers you put on the penetration that is driving whether it's going to be a 50 million or a 300 million product.
What about the US? What's the strategy with the FDA?
Sure. Well, what we did right after getting the approval in Europe, we opened a channel and turned our attention to the FDA. So we engage with them with pre-submission meeting, scientific advice, and what we learned for sure is that the similar approach that we had in Europe is not something that they are very much liking it. So a retrospective data using European registry is something that it's not their best option. So we currently have on the table either to complete the ongoing phase 3 that is enrolling both in Italy, in Europe and in the US centers. So that's one alternative. Second one will be to potentially start a phase 2 trial dedicated to US in a slightly different settings that hopefully can get us to a BLA filing before we actually complete the phase 3.
So just switching gears to the CAR T, how is your CAR T, obviously pipeline different, and how do you plan on, I assume you're going to focus on that particular aspect, just given the marketplace. How do you plan on growing that pipeline?
Sure. So yes, in terms of our pipeline, you've seen that you have basically just focusing on cell and gene, so not recombinant protein. That is something that we still have on our pipeline. But focusing on cell and gene, we have 2 assets, one approved and one moving from preclinical to clinic, sometimes late this year, beginning of next year. So then we will have a quite big gap in the preclinical stage. So what we have been investing and exploring in the last months, and we will continue for sure throughout this year, is to identify other assets that could enlarge our pipeline, looking at both in terms of targets and also in terms of technology and platforms.
But I guess maybe specifically in the CAR T space, right?
Yes.
How is, it seems like you're going after a very unique antigen.
Okay.
And then just, what is the platform there? Maybe a little bit of specifics on that and the path forward.
Okay. So yes, what we have is a classical autologous CAR T at the moment. So this is an asset that we acquired 2 years ago from an option that we had with Ospedale San Raffaele. We have spent the last couple of years publishing data on efficacy and on safety. So we are now completing the IMPD package in order to file for an IMPD in Europe sometimes around third quarter this year, probably. I would like to mention that this phase 1/2 on liquid tumor is fully financed by a 6 million grant by the European Community Horizon 2020 program. It's going to be a phase 1/2 on AML and myeloma, so the first part, dose escalating, and then once we hit the dose is a confirmation. So that's going to be our first priority, is a proof of concept on liquid tumor, and then once we receive the first safety data from the early patient, we will decide how to move forward also on solid tumors. We have option there, either a basket trial or just focus on some histotypes that in the meantime we'll figure it out which is the best one. So first proof of concept on liquid and then follow up with a wider indication on solid.
And so maybe just in the last minute, thinking about your GMP development, right, and manufacturing services, because that is actually pretty unique. You typically don't see that. Maybe you can talk a little bit about the services that you're trying to develop in the future, because I imagine there are a lot of potential clients in the audience as well.
Hope so. So yes, we have been investing in the second facility that, as I mentioned, is one of the largest currently available in order to increase both the services that we provide. We are a vector manufacturer provider of mostly retro and lenti. So we scale out the lenti manufacturing from 24 to 48 and now to 200 liters that is reaching standard of the market in terms of size. And at the same time, we increase the number of grade B suites that we are available for internal product and for external partners. We equip them with state-of-the-art equipment in terms of gene editing, in terms of closed system for cell manipulation. So we can really offer end-to-end services to any potential client. So take a lab protocol for cell manipulation and work on the vector side, work on process side, optimizing QC, and then releasing the product. So we are really commercial ready for all the platform that we use.
Terrific. Luca, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your attention.